We're discussing a fascinating topic, Olam Haba and Gan Eden, or I should say Gan Eden and Olam Haba. The world of angels, or the world of souls, and the world, according to the Nachmanides, Ramban, we're learning it, the world of souls back in bodies. And we basically said, just to understand, that the world of Gan Eden is primarily a reward for learning Torah, and it's primarily the world of Mamali, a level that is commensurate to our abilities and our levels of ability to communicate or receive or relate to spirituality, which means a much more modified or filtered, lesser revelation of godliness. Whereas the world of Olam Haba is specifically back in bodies. It's a world mainly for mitzvahs that represent a higher relationship with Hashem, not based on our understanding like Torah, but based on Hashem's will, which is higher. It's a world of Seviv, and on that level, the bodies are no longer an obstacle for the experience of spirituality, because the soul is no better a vessel than the body, because the soul and the body are equally distant from Hashem as far as their levels of impression, being impressive or quality. On that level of Seviv, they're all a zero. Compared, like we said, compared to infinite, going around the circle once or 100 times, you're as close to the destination as you were 1,000,000 times. It doesn't make a difference. So, and that's the two ideas you spoke about, Gan Eden, Olam Haba. And we said that the Olam Haba is for the righteous, meaning tzaddikim, and all the Jewish people called tzaddikim, because all Jewish people are filled with mitzvahs like a pomegranate is filled with seeds, and therefore every single Jew has a place in the world to come. It doesn't mean it's all going to be the same exact for all of us. It doesn't mean the world to come is going to be the same exact for every single person, because there's always the factor, not just what's revealed, but how much we understand, how much we perceive, how much we can appreciate. But the levels of the experience in its bigger picture is going to be an experience that doesn't make a difference of a soul or a body. What we understand, as we'll see, we go through the rest of the chapter, will be a little bit defined by our experiences in this physical world and in the world of Gan Eden. Okay, so we're on the bottom of page 256, and we explained that this is talking about the Olam Haba. It says at that time we're going to have our crowns on our heads. Crowns represent that which is above us, much higher than us, etc. Okay, we're 3 lines in the bottom, page 250. 250. So my numbers are messed up here. And just say Hashem should give a blessing to our people, our Yisrael, the Yidden, to be safe and secure. Those in their foolish lamb around anywhere in our community, and friends and family should be healed. And those whose yard sites are around now in the Shem Shav and Aliyah, we should have good news and healthy news. Okay, now that we know that we're talking about Olam Haba is a whole nother level of what the souls will reach, now we can understand what our sages tell us. Asidim, in the future, tzaddikim sheyem lefneim kadosh. The tzaddikim, the angels, will before them say kadosh. Means the angels are going to stand before tzaddikim, or I don't know if they stand, they're there. They're there and they're saying kadosh, they're saying sanctify. What does kadosh mean? Kadosh usually is a term reserved for God, the infinite light. Hashem, what does it mean? Infinite means it's so separate from us. We can't understand it, we can't appreciate it, we can't relate to it. It's called Kadosh. We say a lot of times Kiddush, we think it does mean holy, but it's really a deeper definition of holy. Kadosh, why is holy called Kadosh? Because it's separate from everything else. Everything in the world is a mixture of impurities, selfish, distractions, disconnect. Something which is holy is separate, that's for God. So the word Kadosh really means separate. Like when Shabbos comes in, we make Kiddush to separate and sanctify Shabbos the rest of the week. When Shabbos goes out, we make Havdalah, which is to separate Shabbos from the rest of the week. In other words, Kiddush and Havdalah mean the same thing. One is separating the holy from the mundane, and one is separating back to the mundane from the holy. So one's called Kiddush, one's called Havdalah. But the same exact thing. You have it the other way around too. A prostitute in Torah is called a Kadesha. She's separate. She's not one of the regular crowd. Or something which is impure. If you have, for an example, a field where you plant wine and grapes together, that mixture of kilayim is called Kadesh. It becomes separate. You can't eat it. So the word Kadesh is usually meant in the terms of holiness, but the truth is it could also mean the other way around. Just Kadesh just means separate. Usually it means separated. And that's why we say when a person gets engaged, we call it Kiddushin. On a simple level, it means because until now, these people could marry anybody. And now they're separate from anybody else. They're no longer on the market. They're no longer available. You're now a private person with a wall built around you, and you're not open to everybody else. But a deeper definition, of course, means Kaddish means holy. The marriage, when it's done right, it becomes a sanctified, holy relationship. Again, for the same reason, it's separate from all relationships in the world, whether they're between beasts, animals, and things, are regular mating season, regular mating. Other nations of the world, it's not nice to get married. When a Jew gets married, it becomes holy. It's separate, it's different, it's sanctified. So the angels say to the tzaddikim, you're Kaddish. Just like I say by God, says the angel, it's above my ability to relate to it. But tzaddik in the world to come, he says, I cannot relate to you. Because angels live in the worlds of Yitzira and Bria, not in this level. So they say Kaddish by a tzaddik. Okay? Because he explains, he Kaddish hu bechinas muvdal. When you say Kaddish, you mean it's separate. She'eni begeder hasaga v'das. It's something that can't be understood. When you want to say something is above my ability, out of my, price range, or what other word? Out of my realm, you say it's up. I can't understand it. It's out of my abilities. I don't understand what I was talking about. I listened to you talking about physics and science. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's not my field. Talk certain things, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, tuna fish chicken, I'm in. You can tell me the spirituality. It's out of my understanding. Kaddish. Oh, that's a word for my pay grade. I knew there was a word. I was thinking income. I just couldn't remember that connection. Ki Kaddish bechinas muvdal she'en begeder hasaga v'das. Why do we say it? Because the level that a tzaddik reaches when he's in the world of Olam Haba is way, way, way above that which is found in Gan Eden. Much higher compared to the chachma and the das, the wisdom and the understanding of that which exists in Gan Eden. Why? And these next three words are beautiful verses from the book of Iyov, but it says ki chachma me'ayin tematzei, because chachma comes from ayin. What does that mean? Chachma's source comes from a level of ayin. What does it mean? Chachma is the top of the totem pole of our soul powers, or for that matter, all the spheres in the heavenly spheres. Chachma, you start in the bottom, you have Malchus, we're doing through the spheres, you have Yesod, you have Hoyd, you have Netzach, you have Chesed, you have Gevurah, Chesed, Bina, Das, everything. Chachma is the top. Above Chachma are things that can't be understood. Everything above Chachma is called, I don't know what it is. We call it ayin. I don't know what it is. It's out of my ability. I shared a story once that when the Rebbe just came to America, and the Chassidim, he was bringing and talking, and the Chassidim was standing around, and this young guy turns to this older Chassid, says, I don't understand what he's saying. He goes, shh, I don't understand either. Shh. No. So it's a realization that something above us, but ayin. We know when it says, there's a famous teaching that we say, is Shir Lamaris. It says, Me'ayin Yovei Ezri, from where shall my help come? And the answer is Me'ayin, from ayin. That level of ayin, that level, it remains unanswered. Me'ayin, from where shall my help come? And the answer is Me'ayin, from what's ayin? Ayin is that place we call Me'ayin Leyesh, from nothing. Why do we call nothing? We're nothing. We call nothing because in our world we don't know what that is. And by ayin they call us ayin. Upstairs they say nothing. But now at the same, and therefore we have the word timatzeh. What does timatzeh mean? Whatever comes is found. It's unearned. If you are nothing compared to your source, then you didn't earn it. If you have somebody who has no relationship with you and no connection to you and no relationship intellectually, financially, socially, and you go and give them a ride, you give them something, you invite them. Why are you doing it? Purely out of kindness. They didn't earn it. You're just a good mensch, you're a nice person, and you include people that don't deserve things in your world. So chachma comes from ayin in a way of being found, it's unearned. But at the same time, this is key, but still the chachma comes me'ayin. It has to come through there. And we're going to see that there's a process that has to happen in life. There's three things. Number one, to realize that which is above us is called ayin. We don't understand it. Number two, we should also know that we have today is timatzeh. It's unearned. It's found. Like you guide to matzasi, you find a mitzia. When you find something that's lost, you go down the street, you find a gold watch or $100 bill. You didn't earn it. You found it. It was unearned income. You put on your tax. The only question is you put on your taxes or not. But it's unearned income. But it's still a chachma. It comes from a place of chachma. It comes from a place of ayin. There's a process. We have to recognize that's our source. And we're going to explain that. But the short of it, just to know right now, is that which is above chachma, or in other words, that which is above Gan Eden, the Olam Haba, that comes from a much, much higher place above understanding. It's not the same world. So when the angels are living in the world of Gan Eden, they get say to the souls, me and you, we know we're similar. You're regular like me. When the souls come into Olam Haba, they say, me ayin, you're Kodesh. You are at a whole different level. You are something I can't relate to. And the angels recognize we're talking now about a soul that's much higher. Why it's fascinating is we always learn, they say, what's higher in general in the world? An angel. What's more appreciated by God? A human being. Why? Angels are much, much higher in their purity. They're perfect. They're like computer designed, pre-programmed perfection. Human beings are imperfect. Our journeys are imperfect. But what's more precious, Hashem would much rather have our service. Like for an example, a famous example we give many times, you go into the first grade or kindergarten class and you come in and see a kid's artwork. If the teacher made it, it's much nicer. What's more precious to the parent? The kid made it himself. Even though the lines don't thing and the mouth is green and the eyes are yellow and the cheeks are blue, it doesn't matter because that kid made it imperfect doesn't mean it's not more precious. It just means, higher means it's higher. Not that it's more precious is something you earned. Same thing as with vegetables that we grow, things that we do ourselves. We're doing, you have a smart guy tell you all the answers. I want to figure it out myself. There's a certain value. Okay. Now, what is this concept of ayin? That's talking about keser elyon, the seviv. You have a mali, which is chachma. Chachma is the beginning of the whole Mamali journey. As we said before, Mamali is the world of Seder Shtashlos, where it's modified to each receiver. So in Gan Eden, in the regular realms, in the process, it's all Mamali. It's Chachma, Bina, Das. Above that, the crown, the Keser, that which is above, that is Ayin. We call it Ayin because above us. This is unbelievable. When could you have this? It's the most counterintuitive part of the whole story here. You could only get this in the body. Before we said that it doesn't make a difference in the body or not. At this point, it doesn't make a difference. Body, soul, we're talking about a high level, there's no difference. Come in your body, come in your soul, it's all the same. Now we're saying something else. It's only the body that could appreciate and make this happen. Not appreciate, that can make this happen. With soul can't achieve this. Meaning, where could you have this success story of having this level of keser is specifically only in the body. And it's going to be a very beautiful reason why. What's the reason? Because the beginning and the end is one, or in other words, he says, the end tells you what the whole thing was about. For an example, if you want to know what I'm doing here, if you came into a kitchen, someone's baking challah, a random example, someone's baking challah, and you just the first stage is you see they go to the store and buy. If you want to go back, you can go all the way back to growing the wheat. Let's do our story. You go to the store, you buy some flour and water. You come mixing the eggs. What is all this about? When you see the challah come out of the oven, this is what it was about. All the work, all the story was not about the eggs. It was not about the flour. It was not about the mixing pan. It was not about the oven. It's not that the oven's like, oh, I can't wait to go use the oven. No, I want to make challah. And I need all these steps to get there. When Hashem created the world, he had all these steps to get down to our physical world. But what was it all about? This physical world. So where does Hashem want, or where does the success happen? Only the end. He doesn't invest himself in the process. The process is not about the oven. It's not about, you can make the same oven, you can make cake, you can make chicken, you can make, many things, cookies. I want to make challah. So when do you see the ultimate reason why this person went shopping and went to the kitchen, went through all the work, is only when the challah comes out of the oven. Same thing is when you find something, when it's lost. Why do you stop looking when you find it? Why do you keep looking? Because I found it. The old joke, you find it last place you look. Because once you find what you're looking for, there's no need to go further. There's no need to keep looking because it's not the means that it's not like the search is exciting. It's the destination. At certain times, the journey is part of the point. That's certain things. But in life, in the story of a neshama, in this world, the ultimate is the goal. And where do you see Hashem invest himself completely only in the goal? So the answer to our question is yes, it's true that some of the layers before are much higher in the soul and in the Shambais and in the Gan Eden and in the angels. Yes, you have higher revelations, but that's not where Hashem invests his essence, because his essence at the end of the day is the challah. The satisfaction of the baker or the wife or the mother who makes the challah is not in the process, even though it's very enjoyable and it's beautiful. Most people who enjoy doing something, they enjoy kneading the dough and they enjoy making it, they enjoy everything. But if at the end you wouldn't have a challah, it wouldn't be worth it. What are you doing? What are you doing it for? You can also sit and play mahjong. The vart is that you want a challah, and that's what it's all about. So where do you see the person really represented is in the challah. And therefore, Seif Maisa, only in the end, you know what it was about. Same thing is true about building a house. The same thing is true about making something, planning a wedding, whatever you're doing. All the things you do until now is just for this point. And it doesn't mean the pieces in between were not meaningful or enjoyable or something is appreciated. It means that wasn't the purpose. And only in the purpose do you able to have the full representation of the master or the owner, the person. In this case, Hashem. So where do you see Hashem's self really presented? Only when you have the physical body. And since a physical body is the ultimate, we have a physical world. That's why Hashem was not happy with the Jews who wanted to sleep in Shavuos morning to stay spiritual. He wanted a physical Torah. He wasn't happy with them staying in the desert, in the clouds, because they have to go into the land that consumes them. There has to be an investment in the physical earth, not to live recluse, in the meditation. And therefore, in the Seifon, in the end, in the Seif Maisa, that's why you have Machshav Chil. And that's why specifically there, only in the physical body could you have this process. Could you have this result of Savior revealed, of Atzmas revealed, etc. Now comes a very interesting thought, and it's a very, very important story. So why don't we just go straight to Olam Haba? Is Gan Eden just like a waiting station? Since Mashiach hasn't come yet, you know what we do? Okay, all those guys who have done their job, they lived, they passed away, we're going to have you sit in this beautiful lobby. It's like, when you go to the airport. Some people wait in the lobby with everybody else, and it smells, and it's dirty, and it's noisy. And some people, people, they go into the clubs, the Admiral Lounge, and these places, and they sit there, and they have good service, and they have waiters bringing them food. Is the Gan Eden just a really good lounge until the flight takes off? Or is the Gan Eden an important part of the journey? You would think, based on the above, that it's all about Olam Haba. Gan Eden is just a way station. The Rebbe is going to say, the Alter Rebbe is going to tell us that the Gan Eden is not just Chas v'Shalom, a way station. It is part of the preparation to get to Olam Haba. You can't go there without that. You can't get to Gan Eden. You can't get to Olam Haba without Gan Eden and still not the full experience. But you can't get to Gan Eden without Olam Hazeh. You can't have souls living in heaven. Hashem says, why bother being born? Live for 50, 60, 100 years, and then I'm sending everyone straight to Gan Eden. Doesn't work either. So you have to have Olam Hazeh. You have to have Gan Eden. And then you get to Olam Haba. Souls and bodies together. Why is that? Because we have to do two special processes. One process is to refine the body, and one process is to refine the guf. If you go back one line and read what he says there, it's a very important line. He says, if you go back to this end of the third line, and end of the second line, begin of the third line, he says, Dafke k'shanashama teslavesh beguf zach v'tzach. In a body which is pure and refined. What does that mean? Our bodies, where they are now, are absolute distractions. Not just our bodies. It's the same with every material, pleasure, lust, interest, desire, cookie, cake, cheese, Danish, whatever you have, big steaks, fancy cars. Everything we see today seems to be a distraction from godliness. The truth is they're not. It's just right now they're in perfect form. Before the tree of knowledge, why was there no shame of Adam and Chava? Why was there need to cover themselves? Well, they were just ignorant. They were just so primitive. They didn't understand the basics. There was nothing about the body that wasn't pure. Every single body part, the ear, the eyes, the nose, etc., all had a perfect, holy reason and purpose, and it was seen as holiness. Only when we mixed in the klipa did suddenly some parts of the body become, that's used primarily for inappropriate things. That could be used for eating not kosher, etc. The shame came in only because the body took on an impure status. It was no longer tzach v'tzala. It was no longer pure. So the body only became a distraction when it became mixed with klipa. Automatically, the whole problem with yain nesach. What's the problem with wine that a Gentile, or really not a Gentile, it's an idol worshiper, saw? The one-track mind of everything is all about the pleasure, the lust of idol worship, that when you saw wine, anybody who was an idol worshiper, that's the first thing you think of. Some people, let's say someone who's a serious addict to gambling. They have $20, thinking of gambling. Someone's an addict to drugs, see money right away is drugs. Someone who is an addict to sin is right away everything is sin. In this physical world, we see everything and translate it into a selfish experience. A good cookie, that's yummy. That's beautiful. That's delicious. That feels good. That's a temptation because everything in the world is tainted, and therefore we can't imagine that actually the physical body in every detail is actually holy, and not just that, every delicious. and every material experience is holy, because all godly words, this is just the letters of God forming this thing, except we're living in a distracted world with a bunch of baloney stories, and we don't see what it usually is. It's like the example we once gave about the girl that buys her grandfather a beautiful iPad, and he thinks it's a cutting board. He usually has a cutting board. She's like, "What are you doing?" That's all he sees it as a cutting. He doesn't know in the world that it's electronic and it's advanced. We see everything in the world the primitive way. But when Mashiach comes and it's going to be, the body's going to be tzach v'tzol, zach v'tzach, it's going to be pure. Suddenly, this is going to be a perfect vehicle. So right now, our bodies don't have vehicles for this. So our bodies have to go through two stages. Number one, live in this physical world and find ways to reveal the godliness of the body. Use your hand to light Shabbos candles, and your mouth to say words of Torah, and say a bracha, and walk the shul, and have guests in your home. Use everything to elevate and reveal the godly sparks. What does it mean we elevate it? What does it mean when something becomes holy? It means it's no longer concealed as something which is a distraction. You see the truth. This candle is made to light Shabbos candles. This piece of cow was made to make tefillin. This table is to have a class. This paper is to have a book. It could have been used for something else. It could have been used to read some silly article. So everything suddenly is revealed. That is the ultimate state of refining the body. But the soul also needs refinement. And that's the Gan Eden. So what happens is, whatever you do in this world is a beginning process of preparing your body and your neshama for its purification. When you go to Gan Eden, now the focus is just on the neshama, elevating that to a higher state. And when you come to Mashiach, Olam Haba, you have both back together, and now it's the perfect body with the elevated soul. And now no longer it's not only not a distraction, this is the best vehicle, it's the best medium, it's the best vessel for Hashem's revelation. That's we go back two lines. Only when the neshama comes back in a pure way, when it's going to be holy, after it comes back, because when the bodies come back, it's not the same bodies we have now. Oh, it's the same bodies, but the whole it's no longer dirty. You take a dish, you take a thing that's all dirty. What's the beauty in it? Now you have it clean and beautiful. It's like it's like if you have little people, you wake up in the morning, little kids, like Zalman, sometimes in the morning they breathe and you're like, the morning breath. And then you get later, the breath is fresh. What's the difference? Now it's minty and clean, and now before it was unpleasant. It's the pleasant, the beautiful, the freshness of a body after Mashiach comes. But now after the dat, and this is key, the soul doesn't just go to Gan Eden to wait until, so to speak, till everyone's ready. And then Mashiach comes, and all you guys who passed away 2,000 years ago sitting in the Admiral Club Lounge, you're sitting in the fancy lounge, and you get to enjoy stuff till Mashiach comes. No, that process, rather, there is a whole process of elevation. It's the you can't get to Olam Haba. You have to be in Gan Eden first. Why? To first get into the higher levels of Chachma. Because the fascinating idea, even though we said before the Chachma level is nothing compared to what comes afterwards, nevertheless, you have to go through that process to get to the next process. As I said before, you have two types of ways you can earn something. One is you can earn a tip, or you can earn a wage. When you earn a wage, that's regular Mamali. I'm getting what I worked for. I worked 9 hours, I get $12 an hour, I get whatever money that is. But if I'm doing a job that gets a tip, I could work 9 hours, or I could work 20 minutes, and get $1,000 tip. What do you mean? Did you earn it? Well, yes and no. I did something to earn it, but what I got was a mitzvah. I did not earn $1,000. I earned the respect or the appreciation of the person, and they're giving me $1,000, $10,000 tip or more. Therefore, what happens is, if I wouldn't be the waiter, if I wouldn't be the person doing the service, I wouldn't get anything. But at the end of the day, the reason I'm getting so much is because it's coming from that side. The other side said, you know what? Because of what you did, even though I don't know you from Adam, I would never probably have lunch with you, but you did me a nice favor. I'm going to reach out with love and give you $1,000 tip for what you did. Therefore, because I'm so wealthy. So therefore, it's a result that you get only if you earned it, but it's not commensurate to what you did. It's believable to what you did. He said every person according to level, because don't forget, everyone in Gan Eden have a different experience. The people sitting around here learning Tanya, when we get to heaven, we'll learn Tanya at a much higher level. People aren't training Tanya, they're not going to have Tanya part of the schedule. They're not going to have that curriculum of Tanya. They're going to be learning just basic Chumash. Maybe they're going to be learning some Mishnayos because they never had this in this world, so they're going to have a different track. The more you learn in this world, the more topics you cover. Obviously, you'll have a much higher level, much greater understanding, but only on the things that you invested yourself in, what you worked on in this physical world. Now, the Alter Rebbe adds on something here. The Rebbe has a whole note to this. And he said like this, and what is the way you come back to life, meaning how is someone to come back to life when Mashiach comes in Olam Haba? You're awakening. It's your speaking, which means your words of Torah. What will bring you back to life? It's going to be your Torah that you studied. Meaning, what zechus and what merit? What is your life force? And we'll see the Torah that we study first of both. Both the Torah that we study in the physical world and the Torah that we're studying on Eden. Both of those things will be what drives the level of appreciation when Mashiach comes. Because the Olam Haba, in the world of revival of the dead, while the revelation will be such that bodies and souls and everything will experience it, but how much will I appreciate? How much could I have? It's like sort of like, for example, I could say I'm putting out a buffet of every single type of food and delicacy. Unfortunately, if I don't have the right teeth, I can't enjoy certain things. If I don't have the right palate, I can't appreciate the taste. I mean, the flaw is not what's given to me. The flaw is in me. I can't appreciate it. So even though Mashiach comes, it's going to be a full revelation of all the resources of Seviv. How much we can actually appreciate and absorb personally from our side is going to depend on how much work we did, how much Torah we learned, how many mitzvahs we did, what was our investment in this physical world and in Gan Eden. That will determine how much we'll appreciate. That means, and the Rebbe points this out, it's not going to be the same for everybody. Olam Haba doesn't mean because we're all going to have Mashiach, so we all get the same thing. No, we're all going to be experiencing the same level of revelation from Hashem. How much we'll understand and appreciate it, and how much we'll appreciate, meaning until now, no one can have that revelation. Now we could have it, but some will appreciate more, some will understand this, some will understand that, based on what you did as far as Torah and mitzvahs in your story of life in the physical world, and also, as important, in your story of life in the spiritual world of Gan Eden. Someone in the Shema that's been there for 1,000 years and did all these things, his experience of Olam Haba will be unbelievably greater than Yankel Goldberg from Warsaw. He says like this. Now we can go back and answer the first original questions we asked at the beginning of the chapter. A question: what's this verse? Remember this last line in the first half of chapter 119, the end of the section for the 25th of the month. It says l'chol tichler isikates. From every goal, tichler can mean either goal or end, like every end, or it can mean from every yearning. From every yearning, from every goal, I see an end. But your mitzvahs are very, very broad. What does that mean? So we said the l'chol tichler isikates refers to Gan Eden. That all the things that you're experiencing on Eden, there's always an end, as high as they are. And that's why it says l'kol. L'kol means to every, because there are millions and billions and trillions of levels in Gan Eden itself, from Yankel till Eliyahu Navi, till Mashiach Soul, till the Rabbeim, the Tanya, the Amarayim. Everyone has a different level of experience, but all of that is limited. It's all in the world of Amali. It's a limited amount that you can get. You can't make it to the end. But but we already answered what mitzvah mean. We had a question. We had three questions. What does the chava mean? What does it mean wide? What does it mean the mitzvah, not mitzvah, your mitzvah, not your mitzvahs? And why does it say ma'id vary? So the middle question we answered, we said, talk about the mitzvah of tzedakah, something that Hashem does. Here, now we're going to answer the other 2 points. What's the chava mean, or what does it mean ma'id? Back inside. It's a mitzvah tzedakah. We're talking, like I said before, there was the mitzvah, talking one mitzvah of tzedakah. It's a vessel and a very broad vessel that it could be a vehicle. We have the revelation of godliness. Now, we said it's all the mitzvahs that we do in this world that become the vessel of what we'll appreciate in the next world, in Olam Haba. What mitzvah can handle this revelation? What could be a vessel for this incredible revelation of God? Hashem is going to reveal himself, not in Amali, but in Seviv. Not in the limited way, but an infinite way. What mitzvah could take it in? And the answer is none. Zero. So how are we going to get it? We have a cool what Hashem is going to do. Just to explain it, like this. I'll try and give a weird metaphor. I'm sorry if it doesn't make sense, but this is the metaphor. In camp, we have something called a bean hunt. I made up this metaphor, so it's not good. Don't worry about it. In camp, there's something called a bean hunt. A bean hunt is where the counselors hide before the bean hunt. Thousands of beans all over camp, all over this area. Some are painted gold, some are painted red, some are painted blue. They have certain beans that don't need like 2 of them, and they're all worth different amount of points. And all the kids go out with bags, and they collect. And at the end, you add up all the points. And if you have this many points, you get your buckets sodas for each kid. If you get a watermelon, you get a barbecue, you get trips and prizes based on what you got. Between me and you, the beans are worth nothing. They're worth something, but not in the. Why is it? It's a made-up value. The value is made up by the author or by the staff. That's how mitzvahs work. Mitzvahs, truthfully, there's nothing that we can do that has a relationship to Hashem. Nothing that we can do. We can't earn anything. It's like Hashem makes it up. I do this, I'll do this, I'll do that. But there's one thing we could do. God sees a guy who has a certain amount of beans, and he says someone else didn't collect beans enough. And he says, you know what? The guy goes and gives a lot of his beans to someone else, or some of his beans to someone else. Hashem says, I'm going to reciprocate what you did. I'm going to give you something you didn't earn. Not because the beans have that value, because you showed me do something that I'm going to reciprocate to. That's tzedakah. Yes, it's true that every bean has a assigned value, but those values are fake and they're meaningless. There's nothing you can get from that. I made up a number. Yellow beans are worth 10 points. Gold beans are worth 1,000 points. This giant red bean is worth 50,000 points. But it's nothing. When I see someone go share his beans with someone else, I say, you know what? I'm going to reciprocate. You didn't deserve this, but I'm going to give you so much because you get what's the point? That guy didn't deserve the beans you gave him. Why not? He didn't collect beans. Whether he was tired, whether he was not feeling well, whatever. He didn't earn it. You're not getting in trouble, but you didn't earn it. Why'd you give it to him? You gave him an unearned gift. Hashem says, I'm going to do the same thing. You do mitzvah of tzedakah. I'm going to give you unearned gifts. And therefore, tzedakah becomes the vehicle that can accept this unlimited thing. Because everything else is every mitzvah is still a mali function. It's beans made up, fake value. Not be fake, but that's what I'm saying. It's an invented value. It doesn't have any relation to the story, to the God, to the master behind the scenes. But when you go and share, that Hashem says, you know what? That earned something special on me. I want to reciprocate to that. And that's tzedakah. That's it inside. So the metaphor helps a little bit. He says, like it says, Hashem's garment is tzedakah. That this mitzvah of tzedakah will shine in the future. Sorry, not the mitzvah of tzedakah. The infinite light of Hashem, which will shine, a free gift. With this awakening from below, what's that awakening? Your acts of tzedakah. Your acts of tzedakah, Hashem says, you know what? You touched me. You did something, not because of the amount of beans you collected, but because you went and showed me that you'll give unearned gifts to someone else. I'm going to give you unearned gifts. Remember from the beginning we said, tzedakah is called the path of Hashem. We said the path that leads one city to another. It's that path that you can use. That's why it's called ma'ed. It's broad enough. It's meaning it's different than all the other mitzvahs that are fake earned points. It's broad. This one's real. Hashem is reciprocating. And furthermore, it's ma'ed. It's going to receive a very great benefit. Unlike other mitzvahs that get a lot of stuff. Mali, this is getting savor. This is a chava mitzvah ma'ed. This gets the ultimate benefit. And that's why it says ma'ed. The reward, the light that you're going to get is infinite. Aval. That's why he says l'chol tichrisi ketz. When in Gan Eden, everything has a limit. It's the end, meaning I lose myself in Gan Eden. It's the end. It's not complete. It's very much limited. So ulakol tichla. Why is it called all tichla? Why doesn't it just say tichla? Because it says kol because there are so many levels, but all of them are limited. To the highest points, the highest levels of Gan Eden. Like the Arizal writes, look at the Hashas. Yeah, it says that Talmud Chacham doesn't have relaxation in this world, the physical world, and not in the world to come. In this world, he's busy studying Torah the whole time. He never has a chance to rest. The second he finishes something, he starts again. You finish this, you go to the next level. And in Gan Eden also, you finally reached, you up the level, now the next level. The Chachamim says never get a chance to rest. It's not bad. You never get a rest. Where do you get to rest? Olam Haba. Olam Haba. Hashem says, I take over from here. I got this. You guys didn't learn, you worked, you did mitzvahs, your bodies refined, your souls refined. I got it. It says, in Olam Haba is when they finally have rest. He says, She'elim tamid madrega lemadrega ba'asoga satayr she'elim le'tsev chulu. In the Gan Eden, the Chachamim, Talmidei Chachamim, the Tzaddikim, the righteous people are constantly going higher and higher, and it's infinite level, seemingly. It doesn't mean infinite to real, because infinite means real. Here we're talking infinite means they can go higher and higher and higher. Ad achar atchiyah, she'ir le'hamenucha chulu. When Mashiach comes, and Olam Haba comes, and when the souls are back in bodies, you sit down, you relax, sit in your backyard, you sip a drink which is holy, you learn Torah which is holy, you sit with your friends which is holy. There's nothing that's not holy. There's no, and again, like it was before, the tree of knowledge. Every single experience doesn't have the selfish, cheap value. It has the ultimate holiness. If you see suddenly every mitzvah that we do, every action that we do, eating a sandwich, It's no longer about the delicious taste of the mayo, the garlic mayo, the chocolate mayonnaise on top of the good schnitzel. It's about the engaging the godly creation of a sandwich and putting together whatever it's going to. I'm making this stuff up, but the point of the experience, what's going to be, is a whole different story, and that's going to be the ultimate conclusion when Mashiach comes. So what's the final thing from here? At the end of the day, everything we do in this world only has a very limited effect in the giant scheme. There's one mitzvah, and when I say limited, it's a very high limited. Atzilus, Berea, talk about very high limited. But the mitzvah of tzedakah, the chapter saying here, taps into a benefit that is a whole different level, different than all the other rules, all the different color beans, or any other thing you want to say, because here it's the reciprocation that Hashem is doing to our giving someone unearned. That's why tzedakah stands out as the most important thing, most incredible thing. And with this, Hashem should give us all the kindness that everyone here does. Hashem should give us the holiday of Shavuos that it says back then. On the day of Shavuos, it says every single person was healed. It says the blind people saw and the deaf people heard and the mute people spoke, because Hashem healed everyone. And we know Hayom Eil Niskar Manasi, these days repeated, so Hashem should heal all of us to have the true blessings of health and true safety and security for the Yidden of Israel, and should be a beautiful, meaningful yontif of Shavuos.
Amen. I don't understand.
Welcome to the club. Yeah.
Mitzvah of Limud Torah. It says that it's higher than any mitzvah, right?
Yes.
But here you're saying that tzedakah is more than Limud Torah.
So I want to preface what I'm going to say with, I don't really know the answer. I don't know enough about tzedakah and Torah that's a true source at all. But here, the different points in this chapter, I went through it quickly, but he goes through the Rebbe's point here was, when it comes to Torah, just understand, he says the learning of Torah is so critical to this whole story here. Not only is the Torah that which is going to bring us back to life, the Tal Tchiyah, this dew that we're going to get, which is really a combination of the tzedakah and Torah together, because the difference between rain and dew comes unearned. Rain comes only when at certain times. That's why we fast and pray for rain. Fast and pray for dew. Thank Hashem for the dew. The Torah that we learn is actually going to be the reason how we come back to life. It's a Tal Torah. Our Torah brings us back to life, and what gives us sustenance and continuous vitality after Mashiach comes. Not only it says it's going to bring us back to life, it's going to be giving us life constantly. The Torah study. So Torah is critical. It's just that this extraordinary window or the path that we receive this part of the infinite light, this aspect of Seviv, has to come through the mitzvah of tzedakah. But you can't have one without the other. I mean, if you're lacking in Torah, you're not going to have the experience of it. Like we said before, everything you have in this world, everything you have in Olam Haba, is a result of the Torah you study in Gan Eden. And what you have in Gan Eden is a result of what you studied in this physical world. And that's the sad part about somebody who didn't sin. Someone who did sin, and it was a second before they pass away, or anytime they do tshuva. So they'll have many, many blessings in Gan Eden, but they're not going to have that incredible experience that comes as a result of Torah study. Meaning, you're gonna sit in the lounge, but you're not going to have all the benefits that come to everyone else is there. Some people are going to have access to things because of Torah study. So Torah is going to be ultimately the tool and the vehicle, the tool and the method of how we experience everything in the world to come. But the key, we call it the derech, the path to make this happen, is the mitzvah of tzedakah.